Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the front shocks on this 2002 GMC Sierra. Pretty much the same as any 2000 to 2006 Sierra or Silverado. Tools you'll need for the job are jack and jack stands, 21 and 22mm sockets with a ratchet and a breaker bar. You'll also need an additional 21mm socket with the bar, or a 21mm wrench, a torque wrench, and 15 to 19mm wrenches or adjustable wrenches work as well. Start out by just removing the caps on this vehicle. You just loosen the plastic caps and then the whole center cap comes off. Next, if you don't have the benefit of air tools, loosen the lug nuts while your truck's on the ground, then raise and support the vehicle, remove the lug nuts, and remove the wheel and tire.
Okay, so with the vehicle back down, so I have the tire off and it's supported. You would support it with a jack stand and put your jack underneath the wheel or underneath the control arm. Okay. And then use some penetrating oil right up there on the stud at the top, and then also some down here on that nut. Okay, so I've got a 15mm wrench on there, and I'm not even going to mess around with these things. You're supposed to put a wrench on here, but I'm just going to go straight to a set of locking pliers. Get them on there as tight as I can. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll start moving this bolt and then it'll get to more and more rust and you'll end up having to just cut it off, but it looks like it's might be coming off pretty easily.
And in fact, that nut does come off. I'm going to fast forward here. There is also actually underneath, if you have another wrench underneath the support where the shock goes in, there is a nut on the shock itself that you can hold with a wrench.
Alright, you gotta take your wrench. Sometimes you can get pretty lucky with these. Okay, the other side goes through. The other side is starting to spin, so I'm putting the socket on there. Okay, so it did start to spin, so you can see I have a socket with my breaker bar on there. It just kind of holds itself in place as I remove the nut. Okay, once you get it loose, I have to use my breaker bar. Just give the bolt a tap, get it going out. And then pull the shock down. Now we've got our new shock. Take out the cushions and washers. And the nut. Okay, put one washer on. Okay, the large. Let's see. Smaller hole goes up. Have this cushion with the smaller hole down and the washer on top. Put our shock up in place. Push loosen down on. Okay. Let's start our bolt into place. We'll let down our suspension a little bit more. Okay. Push the shock in. Doesn't quite go, so I'm going to let it down just a hair more. Bolt through, and the nut on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna jack the suspension back up some. Get a hold of the back side of my bolt.
And fast forward as I tighten up that bottom bolt. The torque specification is probably 75 to 80 foot-pounds, but as long as you get them good and tight with large wrenches, you'll be okay. Okay, I'm going to continue fast forwarding as I just tighten up that top nut. You'll see I hold the top of the stud with a wrench and then tighten it up with a wrench. You can also, if you look down further where the yellow begins, that's also a nut that you could hold on to with a wrench. And then once you're there, then put your tire back on, start the lug nuts by hand first, then tighten them up preliminarily, then lower the vehicle onto the ground, tighten the lug nuts to anywhere between 110 and 120 foot-pounds, and then put your cap back on. And obviously always replace shocks in pairs, so do the other side and you'll be good to go down the road nice and smooth. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.